Well, we're dinking around with Eddie and Webby. Dinking around with Eddie and Webby tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We are back with a brand new episode of Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby. That guy over there is Eddie, so I think that would mean I'm Webby, not Eddie.
Yeah, I think so. It's so good to see everybody out there. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. And Webby, I got to tell you, man, I'm so excited for tonight's guest because he's been on the show before, but we're going to be bringing him back, talk about maybe his new role with the PPA, talk about his military background a little bit, all sorts of fun things. But before we do that, I definitely think that I want to have a beverage. What about you?
Yeah, I am very thirsty. In fact, I'm so thirsty I couldn't wait. I already poured it, and tonight I will be drinking one from Saugatuck Brewing. It's a local place here in Michigan. Not really close to where I'm at, but it's in Michigan, and this is Bonfire Brown. I love this one, and I am drinking it in an old school Beer City open glass. It's very faded because it's been washed so many times, but yeah, that's what I'll be sipping on tonight.
Oh, very nice. Webby, I'm going to be drinking a Voodoo Ranger Juicy Haze IPA, and it is nice. A hazy one. One of my favorites. Always a good standby. I definitely enjoy it. And big thank you to our friends at New Belgium for always keeping it real in the pickleball world and bringing their great beer. I'm so happy that I can get New Belgium beers at a lot of events because prior to them getting into the pickleball world, typically didn't have a good selection. So I'm very happy for that.
Yeah, I am very happy with that as well. Cheers to you, Eddie. Cheers to everybody tuning in.
Cheers, man. Webby, I know you posted in the comment here something very interesting that you might have to repost once again. But it looks like we might be having a contest going on tonight. Is that right? Or it's a giveaway, I should say.
That's right. We have a very exciting giveaway. Anybody who's been tuning into our social media or the podcast lately knows that we have a partnership with Volair Pickleball now. And they were nice enough to actually offer a free pickleball paddle to one lucky viewer tonight. You just got to be tuning in live. And if you want to win, just drop us a comment or a question and add hashtag Volair, and that will put you in the running. And then at the end of this live broadcast, we will choose somebody at random who followed those instructions. And if you're not tuning in live, shame on you. You missed out on a chance to win a paddle.
Yeah. Shame.
Yep.
Yeah, guys, as you know, we love Volair. We just partnered with them, as Webby mentioned. Great company. So happy to be partnered with them. We were playing with their paddles even before we developed this partnership. And if you want to get your hands on some amazing Volair gear, you can go ahead and go to Volair.com, use coupon code PB for life, and you can actually get 10% off of your order. So you can get some great paddles, great merch, a lot of incredible stuff out there, right?
Yeah, it's great stuff. And just to be clear, if you win the paddle, you get to choose any Volair paddle that you want. Whatever paddle tickles your fancy, that is the one Volair will send you. So good luck, everybody out there. And yeah, good luck. It's going to be an awesome prize.
Good luck. Good luck. Man, I feel rusty tonight. Do you feel rusty at all? Like we didn't even touch the tips. All sorts of streaming issues.
That's why the things went wrong. We didn't touch the tips. There we go. Yeah. Now things are back on track.
That's right. And, if you guys want to introduce your friends, family to some of this amazing content, go ahead and throw it in or share it, with everybody on all of the social media platforms. We definitely appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Well, I think it's time we bring on our guest tonight. Wow. What can I say about this guest? We've been friends with him for a very, very long time. He's been on the podcast a couple times in the past, once at the 2019 Beer City Open, I believe. Then again, when I did a live stream for his show. Now he's working with the PPA. Now he's got some new sponsors. He's got a military background, just all around good guy. Please welcome to the show our good friend, Jonny Pickleball. How are you, man?
What's happening? Too busy watching you guys touch tips. That was hilarious, by the
way. Of course,
it's awesome.
We got to touch the tips, man. Jonny, man, it's been a little while since we've had you on. A lot of things have changed for you.
Yeah.
Well, what about the Mohawk? You still got that going on or no? Did that?
No. I got that. We go high fade, nice and high fade. Keep it clean, but most of the time, about 99% of the time, I'm in a hat anyway. So I think it doesn't even matter at this point. So, but all good, man. Thank you guys so much for having me on your show. I've kept up with you guys for quite some time. 2019 Beer City, what a throwback! Was that the first Beer City?
Second. That was the second one.
It was the second Beer City.
Yep.
But that was the one that mattered though, because they gave away like the mugs that year. That's the one that you had faded, right? That's the faded one.
The growlers and everything.
Yep, that's where this one came from.
Oh yeah. Yep. They also.
I think I still have that one. Yeah, those are sweet.
The growlers too. Yeah.
About that.
Yeah, and then if you won a medal, you also got the big growler as well. That was very cool.
Yeah, no, it's great, man. That's awesome. Yeah, 2019. I think that's when I decided to actually start my Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's what inspired me. I was with you guys between the Perrin Brewing Company or whatever. I think that's what it's called, and then the getting on your show. I think I was with Martina Coakley for that one, right? And then I was like, man, I should probably start a Facebook. So, it's just fantastic. But
nice, man. Well, it's been a little while since you've actually had the Jonny Pickleball show. That had a really good run. You had some pretty incredible guests. It just came across my feed actually the other day. I think it was 4 years ago when you had Kyle Yates and the Waters on.
Oh man,
that was a long time ago.
It's funny that pickleball years is like dog years, right? So you're like, it's just like for pickleball, we're like, like forever ago. And they're like, yeah, what did it come up as? Like, like 2 years ago. Yeah. But it feels like forever because so much changes so drastically in this sport, man. And it's that show in particular was really cool. Eddie, you did that one, and it's really neat to over the years. And I mean, over the years could be up to about 2016 is when I even started. So up to even that point to see players. Even now, when I see people, I think I just told somebody today they had some video up of CJ Klinger playing, and I'm like, yeah, I remember giving him his first paddle when he came up to my chest, and it's just really interesting to see all the players that have come, what they're doing, and I mean now, even in certain ways, I'm really happy for all of them. I think they're all doing everything they can right now, right? So, which is great.
Well, it's kind of funny you said 2016, right? I mean, Webby, in 2016, right? If you started playing pickleball, that makes you like a senior citizen in the pickleball world these days, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. If you look at the top, let's say 50 players, right? I mean, how many of them were even playing pickleball or even knew what pickleball was in 2016? It's crazy to think about.
Oh yeah, and then even when you and I got into pickleball in 2018. Like we were considered the young guys. We were the kids of the sport because everybody else was way older than us. And now here we are, not that many years later, and we're the old guys in the sport.
Yeah, that's wild to think about. I think even I played pro singles in Desert Ridge, and it was cool. I mean, the two people that I lost to, their ages combined equaled mine. Which was pretty crazy. But I mean, hey, dude, I'm still out there doing it. I'm still playing men's pro singles, mixed pro doubles, men's pro doubles, and going to be at all 26 this year. So on the PPA Tour, so I'll be at every single one, man.
That's crazy. You're traveling like nuts, man. And I know you made a move from Naples to Dallas, and then back to Fort Myers, and now you're back in Dallas because you took a job with the PPA, right? You want to talk about that?
Yeah, definitely. So I took a role. Obviously I got signed as a player, which is one thing, which is great. And then I also got hired on to be the director of programming camps events for the tour. Now that means a bunch of different things, and I've taken on many roles since I've been in Dallas. But I wasn't even sure. I remember I kind of walked through Dallas on my way to somewhere else. I think I was going to DC or something. I can't remember. And I met with the PPA there, and they said, "Hey, man, this is what we're offering you. We'd love for you to to come out here." And I was like, "Cool, all right, great, man." It's like everything that I've been doing over the years is like coming together in this position a little bit with the show and having experience in the Around the Post show and podcasts and camps and running my own camps and doing all these things that I've done throughout the years of traveling the country. And so, when they offered this, I had to think about it. And a lot of times people would probably be like, what'd you have to think about? My goodness. Well, one thing that I don't talk about, and I haven't talked about for a very long time, and I mean, most people don't even know this, but I have 2 kids. I have 2 boys. They're 12 years old and 9 years old, and they mean absolutely the world to me. If anyone ever actually pays attention to my shoes, you'll see that one on the right is and on the left I write the name of the other, and so they're on my shoes, and I kind of consider it as the one on my right, is my right leg. The one on the left is my left, and they both keep me moving forward, which is great. As in this sport, as we've seen, there are many hurdles that come up, whether you like it or not. And anybody can go be an accountant, man. That's what I tell you. The pro pickleball is not for everybody, and it is the ebbs and flows the peaks and valleys and the inconsistency and instability of pickleball. You have to be okay to go with the flow with it, or else you're not going to make it. But if you need that stability a lot, hey, there's always other jobs to go do. So,
yeah.
That kind of part, that part has been very tough, but, throughout the years, but, you either, you get stronger with it or you don't. So, but anyway, my kids, man, are super cool. And my 12-year-old, very mature 12-year-old, but I had a talk with him. We went on a walk, and we just started having a very heart-to-heart talk. And I said, "Hey, man, this is the deal. This is what's happening. This is the offer." And my kid looked at me and he said, "Dad, go for it." And so when he said "go for it," that pretty much, like, in my mind, that was like the other thing that even comes to my mind is that it's like when Adrian told Rocky, "Win." And I'm like that'll light a fire under anybody. And so, for him to just give me his blessing to say go for it, that was I took the opportunity to not only do the camps, but play. And I've throughout the 8 years that I've been doing this, no one ever realized that I've never had the full opportunity to play the entire tour. I've been in and out due to it's expensive and it's hard and it's all the other things on certain things of life. And so this is the first time with this opportunity that I will be playing the entire tour. And so I expect it to get better and become more comfortable. And obviously you need the partners for that. So I'll be working on that as much as possible. But to be around it and to be able to do that is I'm extremely grateful. And I'm at least one of these pros that is never going to take that for granted due to the fact of how much I was never good enough to just walk out there and be able to be there. So I've had to put in a lot of years. It took me 8 years to be able to have this opportunity. And so I'm not going to waste it. And that's probably why I fly around the office in downtown headquarters, getting everything done as much as I do, being the biggest pain in the ass to everyone there, I'm sure. So.
Well, squeaky wheel gets grease, right?
That's right. I squeak like hell, man.
Dude, that's great, man. So you're kind of, you're in a weird position, right? Because you work for the PPA. What's your official title again that you said?
Director of Programming and Camps.
Okay, so Director of Programming and Camps. So you're at all the events. You're basically teaching at and helping to coordinate all of those events. But you're also a professional player playing on the tour as well. Talk about that a little bit, man. I mean, I'm sure that sometimes is a tough thing to balance.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think of players, they fly in when they're supposed to, and then they get ready and they practice and they play, right? So for me, I go in early, I teach the camp, and I go right into playing after that. So I'm teaching all the camps. I mean, I love it. It's the curriculum that I've helped, build. And when I say help build, it's a curriculum that I've pieced together over the years from all different pros. I am humble enough. Everybody that I have worked with over the years, I've pieced together some of the best things that they've ever taught me while I was, or I learned from them. working with them. And so I've been able to kind of put my taste to it. But then I bring in other pros with me, which is great. But yeah, the balance of, the camps I've built from the ground up, and they're already starting to grow and they're becoming successful. And, the PPA has a lot to offer with that, with the camps, and I'll go over that later. But, the balance of, I haven't had an easy road to get here, and I'm not a victim in any of that regard or anything like that. But I haven't had an easy road, so why would it be easy now? You know what I mean? Let's keep it consistent. So, yeah, doing the camps and then going right into playing. I think even in the Masters, I did the camp on Monday. I did the camp on Tuesday, and I went exactly as soon as the camp was over. 20 minutes later, I'm playing mixed doubles. I think it was mixed doubles, and then I'm playing men's pro singles after that because it's a progressive draw, and then I'm playing men's doubles that night. And so, yeah, that's man, and honest, it was grueling. It is grueling, but it's one of those things where I would never, my kid saying go for it is exactly like I have no problem doing it, and I won't have a problem ever doing it. So that kind of stuff is, and I will teach all 26 of these camps because I do enjoy it. And I know a lot of pros, they have their opportunities to come in and help. If they do, if they don't, that's on them. I really don't care. I will be there. I would love to have them there, obviously, but I will at least be the constant, which is super cool. And then I get to meet so many cool people around the country like I always have been doing over the years.
I like it.
Yeah.
We had a couple questions come in here, and just want to remind you guys again, if you want to be in the running to get a free Volair paddle, go ahead and throw a comment or question below. Use hashtag Volair in there, and you will be in the running. We're going to pick that at the end of the show. This comment is actually from Matthew Pace, and I'm not sure if he's asking Webby and I, who our favorite all-time guest is that we've had on the show, or Jonny, who your favorite guest has been on the Jonny Pickleball show, but maybe we should just go around and assume that. So Webby, let's start with you. Who's your favorite guest? And obviously we can't pick Jonny because he's here, right? But who's your favorite guest that we've ever had on the show?
I feel like anybody who has watched our show regularly probably already knows my answer, but my favorite, I'm going to say one of, there's been a lot of really good guests, but one of my all-time favorite guests was Steve Peranto, just because he's a legend in the sport. He's been part of it for over 50 years. So way before most of us were even born, he was involved in it. His father created the first, I think it was the first graphite paddle or first carbon paddle or something. His dad was the reason why we don't use wooden paddles anymore. So that's a pretty huge deal. So he showed off some historic paddles. He did a musical performance. He did a ventriloquist act. I mean, it was like a full variety show. So to me, that will always stand up as like definitely in my top 5 favorite guests of all time.
I like it. Jonny, you've had a lot of people on your show, from amateurs to senior pros to top pros to up and comers. I mean, all over the spectrum. You've done it at East Naples Community Park. You've done it at Wolverine Pickleball in Ann Arbor. You did it at Tennis and Pickleball US. Where else have you done it? Veterans Park. Like, you've done the show in North Carolina at that high end motorhome resort, man. You've done it. You've done your show everywhere. Do you have, and maybe it's a specific guest or a specific show that had multiple guests that kind of sticks out for you?
Yeah, I think obviously up there is always going to be the show at East Naples with the Waters and Kyle and I. That was, we had done it so many times by that point that it almost looked like a scripted circus, it was awesome. But people were really into it. So, having those players at that time was really cool. One of my all-time favorites was, it was a group of players, and it was really cool. There was 8. I had 2 courts going, and it was Rafa Hewitt and Kyle McKenzie with a Selkirk paddle. It was Pat Smith with an Old Engage paddle. It was Jay DeVilliers with a whippersnapper. It was, throwback, right? And you had, no one knew who J.W. Johnson was yet, so I don't even know what he played with. Frank Anthony Davis was there. I was there. And then Mircea Mararu jumped in because we needed somebody and we didn't have anybody else at the time because I think it was like Kyle couldn't make it or something. And so, but I remember that one was super fun. And, you know, the amount of people that came out for that was really cool. That was probably one of my favorite ones. I almost have to do this in categories because that was probably one of my favorite ones between that and the Waters and Kyle at East Naples. The one that I had at Tennis and Pickleball US was the first one. And so that first episode was Kyle Yates, myself, Ben Johns, Colin Johns, I think Tony Falangas, and and I think it was like and rest in peace to him, Pat Devereaux. Mm-hmm. And so who's no longer alive anymore, but was really cool. He was part of that first episode, and so that show obviously means a lot to me. So yeah, I think back in the day, people didn't realize I actually paid to be in my show when I created it. And they didn't understand that. And I said, well, I went through a divorce. I had my kids by myself for about a year. So that's also why I couldn't do the Pro Pickleball Federation or whatever they called it back then and travel and do the tour. And and completely cool with that. And, you know, I love my boys very much. And so, but I would actually pay the sitter so that I could go do the show and then come back and read Curious George, put him to bed, and then, you know, go back the next day and just grind for 9 hours on court. So, but those shows were great. The North Carolina shows, yeah. And then there was one other one that I really enjoyed that was in Bend, Oregon. And I mean, I flew from Florida to Houston to Denver to Bend, Oregon. And I know my suitcase did not make it. I know that. And so I was there for literally 24 to 48 hours. And I had Michelle Esquivel, Rob Cassidy, myself, and Mills Miller. Yeah. And I about got the whole facility in trouble because that was during the pandemic, I remember, and they made us wear face shields, and we were in Oregon, you know, so go figure. And I couldn't see, and I'm like, you know, I'm just getting pelted. I couldn't see, so I was like steaming up or something. I don't remember, but I threw it off, and they're like, oh, it was just the worst thing I could have ever done. But I understood, like I got it. But and then last but not least, I got one more. Sorry, and I know I've had like over 100 shows, man. And so where I was born in Richmond, Indiana, and so the amount of people that came out and turned out for that show during that time was incredible. So at my hometown and being able to go there, I thought that was really cool and see family and stuff. And I've made another appearance there once, fairly recent, I don't know, like a year or two ago. But yeah, that was a cool show too. So, I mean, I've had different ones, man. But yeah, so sorry, I didn't really give you a specific guest, but I mean, every player that I've ever come across, man, is just incredible to me in their own way. So I think it's really cool. And it's, like I said, it's cool to see everybody grow and do what they're doing.
Yeah, it's fun to go back. I actually want to go back and rewatch some of the old ones, man, because they were pretty cool. Trivia time. Do you know who the guest commentators were in addition to me for East Naples with Kyle and the Waters? This would have been 4 years ago. Do you remember who it was?
Brandon Hupschman?
Nope.
David Tabb?
Nope.
God, I feel like anything that happens that's big time, Dominic Catalano finds his way in there. So maybe it was him.
Dominic Catalano here. You get one more guess.
Okay, yeah, give me. Oh, do I get a hint?
Okay, so there were two people, right? One of them is related to Kyle.
Oh, his sister, man, Sarah Parker. Yeah.
Yep. Sarah.
Okay.
And then the second one, he was a minor back then. I don't think he is anymore.
Oh, Alec Lamacchio.
Nope.
Oh, he's still a minor, probably, right? Noah Waddell. I mean, my God.
Yeah. He plays pro. He's done pretty well for himself. Likes to tour around a little bit. I think he's a Texas boy.
What?
Wyatt Stone.
Go ahead, just tell me.
Wyatt Stone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Wyatt and Sarah. I know, it was great when this memory popped up. Webby, do you remember that event at all?
I do. Yeah.
Unbelievable, man.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple hundred people sitting in chairs and bleachers at East Naples for that event. There were more there than there was at, pro tournaments outside of the US Open. It was a pretty special event, that's for sure.
Yeah, that stuff was really cool, man. And, I think what's really interesting as time had gone by a little bit, I've had, even people that I've partnered with or people that I've played with that they're very cool about it, man. They're just like, Jonny, I watched your show. That was the first thing I ever saw in pickleball, and that's what got me started. And I'm like, no way, dude, that's super cool. And so it's really neat that the show even then had at least somewhat of an impact, right? I was hopeful that it would. I mean, we were just trying to have fun and do our thing, and but I think for at least at the time, giving people some value of entertainment. And I even think right now, because everything is so serious with tournaments and stuff, some source of entertainment could be used again in some capacity. It's just, every show has its last episode, but you never know, man. If people request it and we can do it, it's fun. We had a good time. I think everybody, at least I've never had the same lineup twice, except for the Kyle and Anna Lee one. That was the only one that I've ever had like the same exact lineup for. I've never had the same lineup twice. But the coolest part about that was, with all the players throughout the years that have ever done my show, no one ever asked me for a dime to do it. And that was really cool to me. Nice. So it was good exposure, and they knew we were going to have fun doing it. So.
Well, I've only had the pleasure of attending one in person so far, and that was when you came to Wolverine Pickleball last year, and I had a blast at that. Yeah. And for anybody who doesn't know, Jonny had 3 former pro athletes that joined him on the court, and it was super fun. It was Chris Draper from the Detroit Red Wings. There was Scott Kolakowski, former Detroit Lion, and then Jake Fox from Major League Baseball. That was super fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those guys were really cool. And the trash talking with Chris was fantastic. I thought that kept it. I really enjoyed that part, actually. So, usually everything's a little buttoned up, and that was a very mild, JP show kind of thing. It was a really good exhibition, but we did what we could and put on a good little exhibition as much as we could, and Leslie White and big shout out to what they're able to do with Wolverine Pickleball up there. I think that's really cool, man, and I'm super happy for her and for everything that they have going on. So it's cool. Yeah, and I think even being able to travel to all the different facilities and seeing the facilities grow throughout the years has been a nice perk. So like Wolverine growing, all these, even the different places. That North Carolina place added more courts that I went to, and so it's just interesting to me. I mean, all these places are just popping up like dandelions, and they're just growing more and more and more. So,
oh yeah. And when you were there, they were still in the warehouse, but now they have their brand new facility, and that place is awesome. It's by far the best indoor facility in all of Michigan right now, at least that I've been to. That place is incredible. And also, speaking of Wolverine Pickleball, when you were in town for the Jonny Pickleball show, we did an episode of Webby versus everybody together, where we did a singles match, and Jonny, he used the cheap little paddle from Five Below. that was pretty fun.
That was hard, man. That was tough. I was lucky to come away with the W. I feel like I almost had to cheat, like as much as possible.
Yeah, I think I ended up getting, if I'm not mistaken, I got 9 points on you, but you still ended up beating me.
You would remember the score.
I almost forgot, but I got 9 points on you. I definitely got 9 points on you.
Congratulations.
No, but seriously, if you guys haven't watched the video yet, you got to watch it, because we were mic'd up, so like we were kind of trash talking each other the whole time. But the paddle that Jonny was using, it was seriously a paddle that I bought. It was two paddles for $5 at the store, Five Below, and the quality is about as bad as you would expect. It's thinner than a ping pong paddle, and every time you hit the ball, there is no shock absorption whatsoever, so you feel the impact of the ball through your wrist, out of your arm. I mean, you probably got a little bit of carpal tunnel just from playing that one match with me, didn't you?
It was tough, but I persevered through, but not until you got your 9 points.
That's so funny.
It was good. I enjoyed every second of that, actually. If I would have lost, I might not have enjoyed it, but since I won, it was cool. But it was tough, man. It was good. Once I went back to my paddle, I think I missed the first ball just because it was so different, after having my entire arm shake after every shot. So,
Right.
which was pretty interesting, but it's all good, man. I had a good time with that too. And all these things with the show and doing that kind of stuff. And, like I said, it's kind of put me into a position now where, each aspect of what's happening around, the tour and everything, I can at least help out in what I can. But, my intention, I had a kind of a little hidden thing while, one of the major things, and I said this a lot with the marketing team at PPA and some of the other things, was when you do these camps and why they're important. I had to make sure, I wanted to ensure that everyone understood why they are important. Now, when it came out, because of the merger and everything that was happening, people associated the camps with, oh, we're putting the pros to work, right? That's kind of what they were focused on. But when we announced these, it wasn't for that. The actual announcement that I made that the PPA was doing camps was intended for at the tournaments. And those are the ones that I'm doing. And why we're doing them at the tournaments is because for a while now, I mean, I'm back in the grassroots days of what I was doing, where I used to bring my own chair to the gold medal match. But, the PPA Tour, man, and the pros have gone in one direction and the amateurs have gone in the other. And there used to be that cool gray area. That's why people always, enjoyed the U.S. Open when they did that gray area where the paths would intermingle and kind of, be a part of each other, and you'd be a part of each other's journeys in that way. And so my goal with the camps is for the tournaments. And the reason why I want them at the tournaments is because the only time that the amateurs journey and the pros journey intersect right now are during these camps. And so that's the time to be able to make an impact. And that is the goal. I want the pros of the PPA, the other pros with me, to be able to come out and share stories, talk, hang out, just, yes, impart your wisdom of the game. And as they want that for sure. But, it's about the experience of enhancing people's experience. And the PPA, if you ever notice of what's happening before the actual tournament, when people actually take a look, they've added a lot more stuff to do that. And that I'm actually really happy that they're doing, including, and big part of that is the camps. And so those camps, that was my goal, is to make an impact on people while they're there, or people that are visiting, or spectators, or whatever it is, man, or other, people. They might not even be playing in the tournament. I don't know, but some of them are. But that was the actual goal. So it was really a little bit of a bummer when we did the announcement, and then they kind of took it. I think another podcast might have spun it and said that it was, that was about the players and that they have to get put to work, and it was got kind of, just spun into the merger, but it had nothing to do with that. Actually, at the time, it was all about having them at the tournaments, and yes, we were going to have them at other places, but I mean, like, it was more being at the tournaments and being able to make an impact on the people that are there and intermingling your journey with theirs. And so we are doing that. I am able to do that right now, and I'm telling you, it's super cool. And it's probably, I've had Wes Burrows, the walkers, with me already, Angie and Alex, and I have more pros with me as we continue throughout the year. And they love it. It's fun, man. And it's really cool because you truly do get to see people just enjoy that time. And so I really, that part is really cool to me. And so that's why it's not even tiring to do it, almost, just because you're kind of, the energy's up, because the atmosphere of being at the tournament itself. I mean, you have championship court bumping, and you're learning how to dink and do drops and all. How cool is that? It's just different. So it's different than doing it at your county facility or something. So, and so, yeah, I wanted to be able to do that, and then, announcing and getting back out on grandstand and
that's right. Yeah,
court.
I've heard you on the live stream a couple times now. Getting back in the booth, man. How does that feel?
I'm skittish, I can't sit still too long. But I can, grandstand's kind of cool. I can like stand up and nobody knows. And like, same thing, I think championship court's coming up too in Mesa. I think I'm going to be on championship court a little bit too. So, Yeah, getting back out there and kind of, things have changed in the direction of going from being the showman, which I can still do on certain occasions, but kind of now it's the X amount of years of things I've learned throughout the game and experiences with other pros that, we can do some commentary, and I can do that and then do, the camps as well, and impart all the information from that. And then now even analyzing matches, and started the new Inside the Lines podcast from our show, from the, not even a podcast, it's really just a show from the PPA, where I break down matches, and that's going extremely well so far too, of the PPA matches, which is great.
Very nice. We got quite a few good comments here on social media. I want to bring up one of them right here. This is kind of a hot topic that's going on in the pickleball world right now, and this comes from Tanner Wallace, and he says, "What are your thoughts on the new serve rule?" I'm assuming he's talking about the PPA serve rule that was kind of a hot topic issue recently. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's good? Do you think it needs to change?
Yeah, so I was even going to do. Yeah, of course I can comment. It's really funny. I think I was going to do a whole show just like what the hell is the serve rule? What's a real pickleball serve at this point, right? So that is the new serve rule. The intent of it is supposed to be so that you're not. It's that you're not coming over the ball, but you shouldn't be coming over the ball anyway. And that it's like Ben, actually, I think when I analyzed one of his matches, he changed his whole stance. So he does more of an open stance with it now, and then is able to kind of drive his hips forward. Federico does the same thing if you watch him. And so you're still able to get a lot of power. The biggest thing is that they're just trying to ensure that you're not imparting any spin on the ball. But it affected me the first time I did it at the Masters, because I was thinking about it, right? And I think once they put into place the warning, at least you have a buffer there, so where you can just kind of be free for a little while. Now you might start thinking about it once you get your warning. It's supposed to make serves not be as big, but people are going to figure out a way to use their body and use their hips to enable that to still happen. So I don't know. I think I'll give it another tournament or two and see what they tweak with it before I kind of formulate any final opinions on it. I'm going to let them kind of do that. My initial thought was, okay, okay, I just, let's see what happens. But I'm fine with it for right now. I don't think it's the people that are upset about it are the people with big serves, right? So, but right. Now people are starting to they're modifying their serve to the point if you can modify it and open the hips up a little bit, or you can drive the hips a little bit more with an open stance, you're able to kind of thrust forward into it. You still get the same power. So yeah, I think this just takes an adjustment, and I think we'll be okay. Yeah,
and I get why people are mad about it. People don't like change, and some people are like, oh, we should be rewarded for coming up with creative and good serves and weaponized serves and stuff. But I definitely understand why they did the rule, and I don't like when points can be earned easily just on the serve. That makes for very boring pickleball, and so I get why they're trying to not make that happen. So I can see both sides, but I appreciate the hot take, and that was a great question. Thank you, Tanner. Speaking of hot takes, something that I kind of miss. That I was a big fan of is something that you were part of, and that was the Around the Post Pickleball show. Have there ever been any talks about ever bringing that back, or is that dead and gone? What's going on with the Around the Post show?
It is not dead and gone. It is not dead and gone, man. No, it is not dead and gone. It just sometimes you need a lot to happen, so you have a lot to talk about. You know what I mean? So it's we'll see what happens. I don't know when it would happen or if it even will, but I don't think it's gone. I think it will make its comeback at some point. Right. And I think it's gonna be absolute fire when it does. And I think it's gonna be hilarious. And I think everyone from USA Pickleball will be texting me in fear. And I think it'll be absolutely just balls to the wall. And just yeah, so that's what I think. I think it'll come back. I have no doubt in my mind that it will come back. It's just a matter of when. But I know there are 10 shows already lined up with topics.
Awesome. I was a huge fan of it. I watched every single episode. So if you bring it back, I will definitely be tuning in. So that's good news to hear that there's still a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance.
Oh, there's a good high probability that show is going to make a comeback very soon, because when we look at other podcasts that are out there, like it's Fox News, we got to do something.
Right? Oh yeah, Big Pickle, man. Big Pickle is starting to impact some of the top podcasts out there.
Yeah, and at least this one, man, I mean, there's so many epic fail plays out there right now, dude, that we got to show people. It's just unreal.
Oh, yeah.
You mean epic fails is in every one of Webby's highlight videos that he posted himself, or something different?
We can always pull one. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, pull up any video that I post from a tournament I do, and you'll be able to find an epic fail.
Exactly. So I know it's good though. Even so it's even the celebrations are good. So the celebrations can be an epic fail in and of themselves. So that's just good. So, but yeah, man, the top plays, the epic fails. I still got people, man. I might even do a throwback of a fan favorite of one where it's like, even I think my agent, big shout out to Kim Basharouche for everything that she does for me, by the way. Kim Basharouche, I think I have an epic fail play of her falling, so I might even bring that one back just as a fan favorite. You know what I mean? Yeah. Pretty funny.
She bit it. It was at East Naples. I remember that was one of our first ones.
Oh, man.
It was great.
She reminded me.
I met with her in a tournament like many years ago. That was one of my when I went down to Florida. I teamed up with Kim. Yep.
Yeah, it's awesome, dude. Yeah, big shout out to her, man. She's doing. I mean, she's fantastic as an agent, and she really is. And so she answers my calls when she doesn't want to. She does great things. So.
Nice. And then Tanner Wallace, he said, I missed the Sherry party. I like that segment too. Like, what's up with Ryan Sherry? I loved that segment.
Yeah, and actually, I think I even modified that a little bit. I looked at it and I said, I have Ryan as that, but I said, man, how cool would it be to check in on different players each week? And so I've had discussions with a lot of these players that they're going to be sending me some stuff, so which is good.
Nice.
Love to see what Miller's up to.
Oh yeah.
I'd love to see what Joey Farias is up to. Eden Lika just does a screenshot of him kissing his bicep, and we just like, all right, and that's what he's doing.
No, here's what I want to have a camera crew follow around Andre Diascu when he's writing his tweets, just to see like what's going through his head. I love those, man. They're great. That guy cracks.
It's all good, man. But yeah, so we'll see what the around the post show will come back for sure.
Yeah. There might have been some text messages going around today about seeing if we're gonna bring it back. You never know. They might have.
Very cool. Very cool. I want to do one more comment here on social media. We've actually had quite a few come in, so thank you, everybody. Keep them coming. This one comes from Belinda Elaine Photography, and she says, Jonny Pickleball is a true testament that hard work pays off. Aside from being a pro player, he has always been a huge ambassador for pickleball. Congrats on all of your success. Well deserved. I agree.
Yeah, thank you. No, that's nice of her. Yeah. No, Belinda's a great photographer, man, and she's been through the grind as well. So, that's really cool. Very nice of her. So, you can always tell, man, there's so many people in this pickleball world that we have that's usually so freaking small, that have been through that grind for a very, very long time, and you two are one of them, man. You guys are one of a couple of those that are the grinders that have earned anything that they've ever had in pickleball. So your Volair sponsorship is no accident. That is a big congratulations to you guys, and everything that you do for the sport so is huge. And those things as we go through the years of pickleball, although we're all about what's happening today, the things of what people have done that have been around for a very long time are starting to grow in legend a little bit, which is great. So, and you guys will definitely be up in that category, which is cool.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Not your play.
No.
Not your play.
No. Let's be clear. Not from our level of play.
Right.
No. Yeah, it has nothing to do with that.
Speaking of which, Hey Shay, she's infamous in the, or I should say, like just a legend in the comment section of any pickleball video. She said, "How do we get Webby's duper to 4.0?" That's a great question. That's something I've been trying to do for a long time, and I don't know what it's going to take to get me to that level. But
you got to go to one of Johnny's camps, man. Got to sign up.
Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. Yeah,
we'll get you there.
At any camp I've ever gone to, I'm telling you, by the end of the weekend, my game went up significantly. So I think they are worth it. And you're not going to get that much knowledge in that short of a period of time with private lessons. Private lessons are going to help you do, some minor incremental improvements and give you stuff to work on. But a camp or a clinic, man, you're like drinking from a fire hose. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. I'll even tell you what, man. I'll tell you what we do too. Can I tell you what we do at these camps? Can I give you the little rundown of what we're doing? Is that okay?
Yeah, do it, man.
Like as far as like, not necessarily like the curriculum portion, but at least what we kind of do with it, just because I've put it together. So and most of the time I tell people, with everything changing, starting with Austin, Texas, that tournament, you guys tell me how much you think this is price wise. You're getting 6 hours of instruction, 3 to 6 p.m. each day for 2 days so 6 hours of instruction, 1-to-8 ratio, PPA professionals as your instructors. You're getting one courtside ticket to any day of your choice to include the finals or to include Championship Sunday. So you can have one courtside ticket per person that signs up. You're also getting Pickleball Central discounts at 20% off at the tent on apparel and 10% off paddles, to include potentially Volair paddles, right? At the tent of Pickleball Central. And then last but not least, I'm recording the entire camp, and you're getting a recorded copy of the camp that you personally attended.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome, man. How much you paying for that, Webby? How much do you think? Come on, Price is Right. What do you got, man? I'll tell you.
Oh man. I'm bad at guessing stuff like that, but like that's all I know is that the value for that. I would say 6 hours.
Courtside ticket.
Oh man. I mean, it's got to be. I'm afraid I'm going to say a price too low, but I mean, but it's like it's definitely like $600 or $700 worth of value. But I mean, I don't know what are we talking here, or probably more than that. I don't know. I'm bad at this.
Okay, so you said 7. You said 7. You're going to stick with 700. Eddie, what do you got, dude?
I mean, I'm thinking we're pushing 1,000 for something.
Oh wait,
like
6.
That.
Yeah, you said 6 hours. I don't know why, but I was thinking like 3 hours, but 6 hours. That's a lot of time. So
it's a lot of time.
Yeah, I would say easily.
All right.
But
all right. So yeah, good for you guys. So courtside ticket, a recording copy of your camp. You're getting 6 hours of instruction. You get the discounts from PBC. We're charging $370.
No way. I thought I was very lowballing it when I said 600.
Yeah, we're charging $370 plus like a processing fee, which is only like a few bucks here, there, whatever.
Wow.
But $370, and so we want you to experience it, man. I want you there. I want you to have fun, and I want you to enjoy the entire tournament of the week. So we do have packages now. Those packages are different. So you do have packages that I created where you can have a courtside ticket all week long plus the camp. And then you can also have a VIP ticket all week long plus the camp, and those are like $8.99 or something like that. But it's well worth the the whatever you're getting. So those are they're starting with Austin, Texas. I anticipate the camps are going to just blow up, and we'll go from there. But I really want people to experience these tournaments and the atmosphere, and I want people to also intermingle with the pros and have that experience of learning the game at the same time. So.
That's awesome. That is an insane deal because I paid half that cost for a 2-hour clinic, and that's it. Just a clinic and nothing extra, no bells and whistles, and it wasn't even the best clinic I've been to. So, man.
Yeah, super cool, man. So that's what I've been working on a lot and getting out there, and then with the help of everybody at the PPA too, they've been instrumental in helping with all this stuff, man. The marketing team is absolutely crazy good at what they do, and everybody there is they're very good at what they do. They just I'm just the squeaky wheel that runs around and gets the grease.
Good, man. I love it. That's great.
I get it.
Go check it out. Go sign up for a camp. Jonny, I do want to get into your military background here in just a minute, but before we get into that, Webby and I got to pay some bills here. And Webby, we've talked about it before. And there's this new business that Kyle Salenko of Boxcar Productions and I started, and that is Close Call Replay. I'm sure you've heard about it, right? We talked about it on the podcast. We're talking about a 230 frames per second line challenge replay system that needs to be at every single tournament. Now, to a lot of you might not know what that means, But to me, what that means is that we want to be able to, within a few seconds of a challenge happening, we want to be able to pull up a replay in slow motion and show the referee the exact moment the ball hits the ground. Now, right now, most systems are 60 frames per second, and we're missing a lot of frames that are going to show that ball making impact. You can go up to 120 frames per second, and you're doubling the chances that you're going to see that ball making impact. But even then, we have found in our studies that sometimes you're still going to miss it. 240 frames per second is the absolute way to go. Every single tournament, every single league, everybody in the world should be using close call replay. It is priced way more reasonably than you might think, considering the thousands and thousands of dollars that you need for equipment to be able to make this happen. So definitely, if you're a pro player, ask for close call replay, so that way when you make a line challenge, you know without a doubt that referee is going to be able to look and see if that's in. If you're a fan of pickleball and you watch these broadcasts and you want to be able to have definitive proof of where that ball makes contact with the ground, you got to go with close call replay. And Webby, where did we debut this system at?
We debuted it right here on Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby. Eddie and Kyle, they were on one of the previous episodes, and they did a very in-depth demonstration to show the difference between 60 frames, 120 frames, and then their new system with 240 frames. And it is pretty amazing. If you are a pro pickleball fan, you will understand and appreciate why this is a necessity. So any pro pickleball tour out there, do yourselves a favor, get close call replay, because if we want pickleball to grow, it is needed. It's a must, especially if we want gambling involved in pickleball. I mean, yeah, it's a no-brainer. So everybody you better do it.
You better do it. We talked about it there, but we debuted our system at Pickleball Slam. So hundreds of thousands of people watching live on ESPN. Do you see that little clip there in the corner? That was the first time we used the system with top tennis pros in the world out there. Guys, I'm telling you, this is the future. Go out there and check it out. Enough plugging. Why don't we go ahead and get back to the show? What do you say, Webby?
Let's do it. And I totally dropped the ball on what you meant by where you guys debuted it. But I feel like you can get a better example of how it looks on our show. But yes, they debuted it during Pickleball Slam 2, like officially. It was officially debuted on Pickleball Slam 2.
Yes. It worked flawlessly. Gosh. We're so happy. Check it out. Anyway, back to the show. Jonny, I want to talk to you a little bit about your military background. So we've touched on it briefly in the past, right? But obviously, your role in the military means a lot to you. I mean, you have the whatever you want to call it kind of hanging behind there, which I want you to be able to go through if you want to share. But let's talk a little bit about your experience in the military and maybe how it even applies now into your pickleball life.
Oh man, I mean, where do I begin with that? I mean, there's so many different similarities in certain ways, which is in I think. Let me back up a little bit. There's certain things are similar, but different context and different. I was a combat arms cavalry scout in the Army, and cavalry scout is first one in, last one out. So scouts out and all the things that they say. But yeah, you are in front of everybody. So that is exactly what I did. I am the only combat veteran on the Pro Tour currently that I know of. I'm sure there's other veterans, or there may be other combat veterans. If you are, let me know. I mean, my God, as far as I know, I'm the only signed PPA pro that is a combat veteran that I know of. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But anyway, regardless, yeah. So when I did deploy, I did some cool things that got me some things while I was deployed. That had me battlefield promoted pretty quick throughout my time. Yeah, so, it went by in a blink of an eye, I can tell you that. So the biggest thing that I tell people a lot when they ask me, and I said, I had a lot of life lessons learned intentionally and unintentionally. And so I had things that I had to learn very quickly, whether I liked it or not. And And so that was really interesting to me. It makes having someone hit a ball at my face not that bad. So that's kind of cool. But that is one of those things that when I got, and I haven't talked about this, I think I've said it in a blurb before, but I've kept, throughout the years of my Jonny Pickleball stuff, man, I've kept a lot of my personal life extremely out of this. I've kept it when I went to Jonny Pickleball, and that was a thing, I kept it very Jonny Pickleball, and that's who people thought of and whatever. And when I had success, the what people considered as maybe potentially arrogant at the time was not that. It was the way I dealt with people due to underlying things. And it wasn't there's no excuses and anything like that, how I acted and stuff like that. It was that of someone from the military who has a bit of thicker skin, who dishes it a lot and takes it a lot, and just, other people aren't used to that, I think, and can get a little more sensitive in that regard. But, when I got out, and I had mentioned this before, there's a lot of people that I can relate to in the service. I was in charge of millions of dollars worth of equipment. So I had a tank, I had a Humvee, I had all these things, and you're in charge of a lot. And when you are the breadwinner, and when you have that kind of I told somebody today, man, I didn't know how to even write a check when I got out of the service, because everything's kind of done. You have power of attorney when you're deployed. Everything's taken care of for you.
Well, how old were you?
So I did a couple years in college first, and then I went into the Army. So college was expensive, dude. So I was like, yeah, let's go do that. But I had the opportunity to be a cryptologic linguist, so I tested relatively high.
What does that mean for us laymen?
I have no idea. I have no idea. But it sounded legit.
Say that again. What?
A cryptologic linguist. And so I'm assuming I don't know, dude. I don't know. You're able to study languages and stuff, and whatever. So it was pretty much going to be like a cool thing. I don't know. It sounded really cool. But then there was in my mind, I know at that time, because that was 2008. And so in my mind, I was like, I wanted to do something, as I've done in pickleball and other things in my life. I want to do something that it means something. I want to do something that's important. I want to do something that's bigger than me. And so that is what I did. And I said, what deploys me? And they said, whoa, scout. Whoa, a cavalry scout. Absolutely. And I was like, okay, cool. They're like, yeah, you'll be deployed in 6 months, dude. You'll be great. And I was like, all right, got it. So I went to Fort Knox, Kentucky. That was one of the last times they ever sent people for armor training, combat arms training to Fort Knox, Kentucky. I marched to Agony, Misery, and Heartbreak Ridge, all those hills, which was miserable. And and that was probably the craziest part in my military career was the first 2 weeks of reception, not even basic training, because the reception was an ice storm. And I can remember those 2 weeks, you get no sleep, you get no food, you get barely anything of anything. And it's like an insane asylum, because you have, X amount of guys in there that are detoxing from whatever they were on. Right. And people they forget about that part. Going to the military wasn't always an option for people, Right. And so, especially during that time. So I went with those guys, and they were all great. Don't get me wrong. Really nice people, upstanding individuals. And once I went down to basic training, it was, there was a lot going on. So it was quite the experience. That's for sure. And they definitely break you down and build you back up the way they want you. And that was very true for me. So, so once I was one of the very few that got chosen to go to Fort Benning, Georgia. I went to Fort Benning, Georgia, and I got off, or I drove my car and got a bunch of gear issued to me. And then they said, all right, get on a plane. And I said, okay. And then we got on a plane to the desert in California to train to get ready to deploy. So we went out there for a month, and you lived on whatever you had. And then I got ready to deploy, and then I deployed and for a year. And then I came back, and then I did a bunch of schools because that's what I was told to do. And we just kind of stayed together and we deployed and we came back, and it just kept going. That's why I said it in a blink of an eye, all the things that I did, it was so fast. And it was, 6 years went by literally in a snap. And, it was crazy. I still have pictures. It's really interesting, man, of my first son was born on a military base. And I still have a picture of me, and in the morning, it had to be probably super early morning, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., whatever it was, still dark. And I'm in uniform with my rifle in one hand and my son in the other. And it's a really cool photo before I get on a plane to go train again in the desert. And so, yeah, it was super cool. And I still have that picture. It's really neat. But, yeah. So, and then after that, once I got out, man, the hard part is once you get out, you're in charge of all that stuff. You're doing all these great things. I was 24, probably 24 when I got out, 25, something like that. And, I remember, people looked at me when I was 24, 25, when you're in the Army, they looked at me like I was an old man.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because those guys were 18 years old and you'd been in already for X amount of years, and it ages you pretty quickly. So my body was not happy with myself after doing all that I had done to it already. So I had some injuries that I had to work through, and I still deal with today. And so I got out. They offered kind of a deal. I think they were downsizing the Army, and they said, "Hey, man, we got a cool deal." And I was like, "All right, cool, sounds good." I looked at the patch chart. Patch chart was kind of your patch. So I had the one that looked like the little broken TV. It was the 3rd ID. I was part of the 3rd Heavy Brigade Combat Team, the 3rd Infantry Division, 3-1 Cavalry, so 1st Cavalry. And so they offered me to get out, and I said, "Sure, yeah, let's do it." So I got out, and then at that time I was lost. Absolutely lost. I had a family to deal with. I had to figure it out. And I went back to college and did that because the Army was going to pay for it. So that was great. But you're lost. So all these people that come back from the military that have this kind of money and they have this kind of responsibility, and they had the income, they were the breadwinners. When they come back, it's very easy to be lost. It's very easy to not know where you're supposed to go, especially when you have, how hard is it to be in a position of authority and then come in and then have people that have been in a corporate world just push you around and say what to do. Like that is not, that is not an easy thing to deal with.
That's gotta be weird, man.
Yeah. So I didn't do that. What I did was I said, okay, well, I'll go in and do pretty much grunt work, which is what I knew how to do. So I was at a place, and I think it was like Cape Coral even to start. And I did all the clay court tennis maintenance, and I just did clay court maintenance, and that was it. And then the time on that was running out, and it wasn't making enough, and I didn't really know what to do. But the frustration of that, and there's so many people that are like that, man, that, that come out of the service that are just lost in that, whether it's through PTSD or it's through the PTSD things are very, very real. I've had my triggers. I know my triggers. I know what I have to deal with now. There are things that have triggered me before. It's down to a very narrow bit at this time. Like it wasn't like when I first got out, I didn't really realize, and then time I started to be able to tell what it was, and then so now I know exactly, and it's down to just a very narrow thing of something that will trigger me for sure in a very bad way, and then not in like a violent way or anything like that, but I mean just like I'll break down and it's not pretty, and so but yeah, so I know that, but there's things when all these stresses of trying to provide for your family, and you have to do all this stuff, and you're trying to figure it out. And people are like that on a daily basis now, but you're also dealing with the mental struggles, you know what I mean? And there's mental struggles that I still deal with of certain things. But it's one of those things where I got a little lucky. I got a phone call, and I started just grinding around the area. I'd do boot camp after boot camp of just teaching old people how to play some tennis. Like, I didn't care what it was, right. And I was okay. I was pretty good at it. I was like, come on, Ruth, you got it. Yeah, let's go. And so, and then I got a little lucky. There was a country club in Bonita Springs that needed an assistant pro. but it wasn't really an assistant pro. They said, well, we'll hire you, but we want you to, we might be able to bring you on to do some clinics later, but we need you to be here at like 4 a.m. to do maintenance at this club, or 5 a.m. And so I said, absolutely, I'm in, dude. And so I did that with the opportunity to potentially grow from it. And then I learned, and I did that for a little while. And they said, okay, cool, we want you to do the maintenance in the morning, but now we want you to teach all day. I said, okay, cool, I'll do it. Let's go. And so the one thing that I got from the Army was the work ethic, right? And that was one thing that's really helped in everything that I do, even currently. And that's one thing that people I still don't think understand. They don't get it, and that's cool. That's called job security for me. So whatever. But yeah, I went from doing the clay court maintenance to grinding tennis lessons all day, and then I did that every single day as much as possible to provide. And then after that, within a year, I from learning and doing whatever, I went for it, and I was probably the youngest person at age like 25, 26 years old to be a director of tennis at a country club in Naples, Florida.
Yeah. And
that was huge to me, and I took that opportunity, and it was great. And I bounced around with tennis a little bit. I went to the East Coast. I went to the West Coast, or the East Coast of Florida, and took over resort. And even in 2015, that's where I came up with my story of hitting with the lady, and of pickleball when I found it in Port St. Lucie. And then I came back in 2016 and was teaching at the Ritz-Carlton of Naples somehow, tennis, and just kind of doing maintenance still and kind of whatever. And then I stumbled upon Veterans Park and find pickleball. But that is truly the story of a lot of things that I've gone through to get to pickleball. And even that was just the beginning, right? So the military stuff that having all the people that I met and dealt with, the wide range of diverse personalities, was extremely helpful to deal with people in any situations. So being able to be very flexible, but to ensure that something gets done. But it also helped in the way that I started teaching, and which is why, because of the way I learned in the military was, there's no reason why you can't get this. We're going to break it down as dumb as possible to the point where you can get it, and then we can move on from it, and we can build on it. And it's super funny because somebody even said, in this last camp I did in Desert Ridge, they're like, you break it down, Johnny, it's so simple. And then in the 2 days of these hours that we're putting together, you're building on each thing that we've already learned and then adding to it as we go. I said, absolutely, dude. That's why it works. And it's great, and it's fluid, and it's a progression system.
And all those things are things that you brought from the military into your pickleball game.
Absolutely, yeah. The discipline, like I said, I wasn't good enough. I'm not. People ask me. They said, Johnny, what sport did you come from? Did you come from tennis? And I said, dude, I came from everything that required me to be 6'8". I was. I'm not a guy that's from tennis that can walk over in 6 months, be amazing. That wasn't in the cards for me. It's not, I had to put in the work, man. I had to put in the hours, and I still do put in a lot of work. That's why I'm able to still, compete with these young guys as much as I can anyway. Whether I have the respect of people from the tour of my playing ability or not, I'm going to go out there and grind with you. And so, that is something, that I was able to go. And so the dog in me, as far as me having the opportunity, I was never a professional athlete. Like, I was never a professional athlete before. The success that I started having in pickleball, I didn't know how to deal with that. I didn't know how to handle that. And then I was already dealing with stuff from the military. And then, it just, it comes in with a certain thing. So you're trying to learn how to, my ability in the Army when you're getting pumped up and fired up is probably a little more intense than for somebody of pickleball, right? Yeah. So, and I used to bring that intensity into my game of pickleball for a little while, and people thought I was just being a jerk or something, potentially. I don't know, maybe they didn't, but yeah, dude, it's different. And so, yeah, the PTSD stuff that people go through, back to the military stuff, it's something that hits home with me. I've done a lot with the military, with paddles, with, and I put camo on a paddle. Even my new one that I'm using is called the Patriot. I have it here, by the way. I'll go over that in a second. But that, everything that I've kind of done is not about, I'm not about somebody supporting me by giving me a ribbon. I'm about supporting by doing and by showing and by the ability to make an impact as much as possible on things. With Chicken and Pickle, one of my sponsors as well, I did some free, every clinic that I went to for a little while, every camp that I did personally around the country that were my own, I added a free clinic for veterans wherever I went.
Oh, that's great.
And
nice.
just to meet people. So that's what I did when I did that. I had a percentage of a paddle go to a charity organization, and that's why that paddle was really cool. It was a good paddle, first of all, but it had camo on one side, my logo on the other. It also, from Temper Sports, I remember that one. That was a camo paddle. It's the first camo one that I did. All those paddles sold had money go to these charities, and it was the first time someone had ever done a signature paddle with something bigger than themselves attached to it. Yeah. And that has been the theme of what I've done for a very, very long time. I joined the Army because I wanted to do something that's bigger than myself. I did the paddles thing and everything that I've done with pickleball, doing the camps and doing the things, so I wanted to be a part of something bigger than myself. I've done the camps with the PPA and everything that I'm doing now so I can do something that's bigger than myself. And that is exactly the theme that I will continue to try to do. And a lot of that is due to still the Army that I had, the time in the service that I had. So that kind of stuff, man, while still at the same time being sure that I can be an amazing dad to my kids. And so, and then still find the time to train. And so I never put my kids on social media. That was never a thing that I am going to do or will do ever. Unless, as it's Jonny Pickleball, it's not Jonathan Andrews as my Facebook page. It's Jonny Pickleball Andrews because Facebook made me. But, but that's one of those things I think, people do their things with their kids, and I love that for them. I think that's great, man. I'm never ever one to judge with that kind of stuff. I don't, it's all good. You do you. But that is, my kids mean more to me. I FaceTime with them almost daily. And so they're, that kind of thing as I, spend time with them and all the things that I do. I'll fly down to Florida when I can and do all that. So there's a balance there. But yeah, the military stuff, man, the more I can continue to do with that, the better. A lot of it is just the awareness, and more so I would say the understanding. A lot of those times with those veteran clinics, I would say the understanding of knowing exactly where they're at. Depending upon how long they've been out. And there's guys that are super old, which was great because they got a lot of my jokes. A lot of the funny videos that I do, I've changed the context, but I've used some of the same sayings that I used to get yelled at me. And so, when I talk about the transition and don't rush to failure, that was something that was yelled at me while I was deployed, just in different circumstances, right?
Sure. Yeah,
so
a little bit more dire circumstances, yeah.
I try to make light of things that were very serious to me at the time, and that's a coping thing that I do. When I talk about the word, and even just the word behoove is one of my favorite words of all time. So when I make a joke about it, it would behoove you. It was usually, when I heard that word, it was a drill sergeant in my face yelling at me, it would behoove you to, whatever. So so there were different times and stuff where there are sayings that I've used in my teachings or in pickleball or in life that I've made light of the situation. But the work ethic is never going to change, and that part I've really appreciated. So. But yeah, all that stuff up there, man, that is stuff that I did for sure. So
can you talk about any of them?
Yeah, each one has a little different. I don't know how much I can zoom in on that stuff, man, but each one of those has a little different, meanings and stuff. This one is actually really cool. The one that's kind of in a flag. Mm-hmm. So I will say that one. The other one, the chip one is from Baghdad. That one was pretty cool. So, but the one that's shaped like a flag is pretty cool because I had to sign for that coin. And so they put it in history books kind of thing. You had a number associated to it. There's a little soldier down there, and I was number, what was that, 380? So you signed for that coin that says you were part of that Operation Iraqi Freedom, or whatever you were part of, And so that part was kind of cool, man. And, doing some of that stuff. But yeah, so I was a scout. So one of those is like a belt buckle, which is kind of cool. So I had like a whole Stetson and spurs and all that fun stuff too. So that was, except my horse was a tank. So,
yeah, right. Yeah.
But yeah, that is pretty much a lot of my military career that people probably don't know about. I usually talk about it in certain ways of very, very, yes, I was in, yes, I deployed. And now I'm playing pickleball,
Mm-hmm.
And then people ask me like, Johnny, do you have any PTSD? And I'm like, only when I'm teaching pickleball. Let's go. And then, and so but one of my major, I can remember the first time. I'll tell you one just because, why not? But I had a major trigger at one time. I was in uniform and I had been asked to go to a school, and I go into the school and then they're in an assembly and the assembly, and it's all these kids, man, and I just absolutely lose it. And I'm in front of them. I'm supposed to talk to them, and I'm done. It's over. Like I'm bawling. It's over. I couldn't speak. I couldn't talk. I couldn't breathe. It was a nightmare to me. And it's a nightmare. And so I figured out that a long time ago that with certain instances there's a problem. And so that's something I deal with, but I've recognized and can deal with. So, but that was an instance for sure. So it's really interesting, man. It's very real with some of the stuff that these people deal with, and what you see on court with people. I think it's really, really important for people to understand that how people project themselves out on court, no matter what, is not necessarily a projection of who they are.
Yeah.
And I think it's very, very difficult for people to understand that. Because who you see on court, and we're all guilty of it, man. We watch football, we watch basketball, we watch guys run around and the way they act on the field or on the court or whatever. We're just like, I don't think I like that guy. But like, you don't know that guy.
Right.
So that part's really hard, but those prejudgments are tough, man. And I get it. You have your favorite players. Winning is great. If you win, everything's forgiven.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So by society, man, if you're winning, everything's forgiven. You can do no wrong. If you're losing, you can act the same exact way, and you're just considered a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really interesting. And then if you're an underdog who's winning, you are untouchable. You are God.
Yep.
For that X amount of time. And so that part has been the psychology of everything. And the awareness of that kind of stuff has been really interesting to me. So, but that is my military stuff personally, that a lot of people that I've never really dived into publicly with, and I have a lot of people that I was deployed with, and I don't know where most of them are anymore. I kept track of some, but for the most part, everybody kind of just went on their way. So.
Crazy, man. Well, we appreciate it. We appreciate your service. We appreciate you sharing. And we also, appreciate you opening up about a lot of this stuff, because it's real. And I'm sure it's not easy to talk about. So the fact that you're able to is pretty cool. And who knows, maybe somebody out there who's dealing with something is going to watch this tonight, Johnny, and that's going to be the inspiration for them to go find help, go seek a group, anything like that to try and deal with stuff. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, the goal, my pleasure, man. And the goal of playing and competing a lot beyond just my own selfish reasons is, of wanting to compete, is to hopefully be able to represent veterans as the only combat veteran on the pro tour, right? To help represent that. And I mean, that's a lot to take on. I understand that part, and it's something that I don't take lightly, but it's a representation of something that, I think is important to have on the tour. And so, hopefully I can do that to the best of my ability, but that is something that I would always like to be, if possible.
That's great. Well, again, we really appreciate you sharing that, man. Before we let you go here, we do want to give you an opportunity to talk about sponsors, maybe some of these PPA camps, and anything that you want to. The floor is yours to plug, man.
Man, okay, cool. So first of all, new sponsor, PB Pro. That's right, PB Pro. That's it, right here. The new Patriot paddle, thermoformed, all my good stuff, right? The Patriot paddle has everything. These guys, man, I signed with PB Pro. They're out of North Carolina. I have had my eyes on this company for a very long time, and so I have known them for a while. They have quietly been killing it for a long time. They are in Dick's Sporting Goods. You can go get some stuff now. They're going to be in other retailers soon as well. But the Patriot paddle, the classic paddle, those are mine of choice. I like their paddles. I like their company. I love their branding. They brand everything extremely well. They're very good at it, and they're quietly everywhere. Even in Palm Springs, we had this pro challenge that we did, and there was about 10 out of the 30 people all using PB Pro paddles in Palm Springs, and I was like, interesting. And so it's just, maybe it's one of those things though, that if you buy a Jeep, you see Jeeps everywhere now. I don't know, but that might have been it. But yes, I do love the PB Pro paddle. You can use it. You can always use my code, Jonny15, right? There's always a code attached to my name, which is great. The story of my life.
Jonny no H though, right?
Jonny no H. That's it, man. And yeah, the PB Pro, the Patriot paddle, which is very fitting. This came out. That's why I knew it was meant to be, man. They came out with the Patriot paddle just as I signed. And so Perfect. That was one of those things Destiny. Where I was like, good timing, right? Yeah. Right. So that's really cool.
Paddle.
It is. It's actually nice, really nice elongated paddle. You can see the sticker where it was approved by the paddle testing at PPA tournaments. So nice. Just if FYI, just in case. We don't know the numbers, but you don't know what the numbers mean, but it passed.
Right. But it passed,
right?
Yep.
But it passed. Yeah, unbelievable. So big shout out to Chicken and Pickle. You wonder where I was sipping on my Chicken and Pickle mug here, but Chicken and Pickle has done really a cool thing for me, being able to come in and do clinics and veteran clinics for them. But they've also given me the ability to practice during the week, which is amazing. So they've been able to say, Jonny, we know you're working. We know you're busy. As a sponsor, we want to be sure to help you get some court time to practice. It's that kind of thing is incredible. So big shout out to them. Everything that they do for communities is something, as a reason why I signed on with them in the first place. Was because of that. And the same thing with PB Pro, what they do for communities and clubs. Like I said, they're very subtle and quiet about doing it. They're still relatively new in certain ways, and so but they're coming on really strong now, and I definitely look to help them just keep moving forward and as much as possible. So whether they like it or not. And so the brand, the company, absolutely fantastic. And for I know, and I'm going to give one more big shout out, but beyond, I already gave Kim Bashrush a shout out, my agent. So big shout out to her again. But if you need an agent, call Kim. I understand fully that I'm not dumb, that people have somewhat of a negative connotation of the PPA sometimes. And I understand that part, and I get it. There are people inside the PPA that do amazing things. They really do. And I hope one day I'm able to do a podcast that is an inside look at those people, because there really are some amazing stories inside that building. And that is one thing that people are very good at what they do, man, and they don't take any glory, and they don't get any glory for what they do, and they do very well. And it is a thankless thing that some of those guys are doing, and it's really interesting to be on the inside to be able to see some of this stuff that's going on, and some amazing things that some of these people are doing to make sure that this stuff happens. So yeah, and I know that's probably falls on a lot of deaf ears out there, but it's something that I think if you saw a couple of these people's stories, I mean, we saw one a long time ago with Matt Mayfield, right? Mm-hmm. There's stories like that all over the place inside there. It's crazy. And so, big shout out to those individuals. I will say that. So, so I think that's my spiel. I really don't have, yes, I do. cardio tabs. Cardio tabs is a good one. I like cardio tabs, man. Magnesium, and then I always say it wrong. Turmeric.
Turmeric, yeah.
Magnesium, turmeric, yeah. Magnesium and turmeric. Those are my go-tos from them. Those guys are really cool. So I like cardio tabs a lot as well. So they've been doing big things around the country with some supplements. So I like them a lot. So, but yes, that is my spiel, man.
And how can people follow you on your social media channels?
Yeah, so right now I actually just got everything updated at johnnypickleball.com. So yes, that's right. I own that domain. It's awesome. Nice. So johnnypickleball.com, no H in Johnny. My Instagram at Johnny_pickleball. And then obviously I don't even know what it's called anymore. X, Threads, all that stuff is at Johnny Pickleball. Can't keep up with that stuff, dude. And then Johnny Pickleball is Facebook, but I also have Johnny Pickleball Andrews. So either way, that's fine. Johnny Pickleball Andrews, it's more that's where I usually post the majority of my stuff. I will be at every single PPA tournament this year. The camps will be rolling. You can go to the PPA Tour website. You will see a tab on there for the camps. It'll direct you to wherever you want to go. Look for the packages. Look for the deals. Look for everything. Make sure to tune into the PPA YouTube channel to check out my Inside the Lines show, which is where I do a match breakdown and analysis of current and previous PPA camps or PPA shows. Or PPA matches. Sorry, I was reading the comment down below by that guy, Pickleball Jack. Sorry. So you distracted me, man. But you can always sign up there to wherever you want to go for all those camps. Please be sure to sign up for those. There's only so many spots available, and with that price point that I told you guys earlier, they're going to go quick.
Okay. Well, there you have it, Johnny. It's always a pleasure. Good friend. It's always good to hang out with you. Hope you had a good time on the show tonight. Go check out all of Johnny's sponsors. Go check out his social media. And I'm sure if you guys want to get in and get a good deal on these PPA camps, that's a good deal, man. I definitely think you should look into it. How do people find out about these PPA camps?
So the PPA camps, you are probably, if you're not on the email list of the PPA so far, you probably should go ahead and sign up to do that at ppatour.com. You can actually go on my website. It's really interesting. So if you go on my website and it just goes to tournament and camps, it'll pull up the entire schedule of the PPA anyway, and then you can just click on one and it'll take you to it, right? So that's pretty cool. Nice, easy way to do it through me if you want to. You can also just go to the PPA Tour camps and it'll redirect you to Tixer, which will enable you to purchase a camp. You can also, before I forget, when you are registering for the tournament, there's an option on Pickleball Brackets for you to register for the camp as well.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So that is really a nice little feature that I was able to add on, or that we were able to add on to that. So you can add that on to your experience throughout the week if you want to.
Great. Good stuff, Johnny. Thanks for joining us, man. Hope you have a
always a pleasure, man. What do you call that? What do you guys call that?
Touch the tips, man.
Touch the tips.
What is it?
Go. Touch the tips right there.
Tips. The tips. It's so good.
Yep. That's how we roll,
Thank
man.
you guys so much for having me, man. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. This has been fantastic.
Of course.
Yeah,
Johnny,
thanks, man.
Well, I'm sure we'll have you on again in the future, man.
Cool.
All right. See you, man.
See you.
Man, such a fun episode. Yeah, great guy, longtime friend of ours, and that really was very interesting to hear his experience with the military, and then how it has kind of helped shape his life and pickleball career and stuff like that. I thought that was awesome. Yeah,
I agree. The fact that he was able to open up about it and share, that's great. And like I said, even if that reaches one person out there who might be struggling, this is real. I think a lot of people, and I love Johnny's comment when he said, how somebody is out on the court isn't necessarily how they are in real life. And I think we can all relate to that. I've done things out on the court that it's not me. It's a moment of weakness. It's a moment of frustration. When you're pushing yourself to the very edge, things are going to happen and things are going to come up. And so I definitely think that was a good statement to be able to share, and a good sentiment. And to see how, we all know that your career in the military can help you with discipline and stuff like that, but to actually see how it carries on into your regular life, I think it's important. I think it's important that we highlight that more to really, showcase some of the great things that can come from the military.
Yeah, I totally agree. I thought that was great. And I'm glad he opened up like that. That was very cool.
That was very cool. You want to know what else is very cool?
What's that?
Paddle giveaways, which we're going to be getting to in just a moment. But before we do that, Webby, what's your favorite way to stay hydrated?
My favorite way to stay hydrated is to drink some Fruit Punch Electrolyte Supreme from Jigsaw Health. I drink a bottle. I pour a packet into a bottle before I play. And then after I play for like 2 or 3 hours, I drink another one because, as you know, I sweat like crazy. It's almost gross and disgusting how much I sweat. But I really do think that helps me a lot, and I love it.
Yes. Jigsaw Health has some amazing products out there. And I take my favorite, oh my God, I'm screwing up here. I like Pickleball Cocktail. It's good. Blue raspberry flavor is one of my favorites. I also take some of their other products as well on a daily basis. Their Mag SRT, their Adrenal Cocktail, as well as the Cod Liver Oil. If you guys want to get some of these amazing products from Jigsaw Health, go to jigsawhealth.com. Use coupon code PP for Life 10. You're going to get $10 off your order. And I promise you, you're going to like it because at Jigsaw Health, it is fun to feel good. Right, Webby?
It is. It's very fun to feel good. It's not fun to feel bad. I can tell you that from experience.
That's right. Feeling bad sucks. But I think it's time for the paddle giveaway here. And we got a lot of questions and comments that came in. So thank you guys. But I will have to say, we didn't get a chance to get all of them over to Jonny or to answer them ourselves. We apologize for that. We do appreciate you leaving comments and tuning in, though. And how do you want to do this, Webby? What's the best way?
So everybody that put hashtag Volaire is in the running. And if you did more than one comment with hashtag Volaire, that is going to up your chances. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to violently, just randomly move my mouse all around. And whichever comment it lands on is going to be the winner. So here we go. I'm moving the mouse all around. And what do we got here? Matthew Pace. Congratulations, sir. You are the winner. Matt. So what you're going to want to do is contact us. You can send us either a direct message on social media or send us an email, contact@eddieandwebby.com, and we will get you in touch with Volaire, and they're going to send you whatever Volaire paddle you choose. So that's choose wisely.
Yes. Right now I am playing with the Mach 1. I have been playing with it for a while, but I'm going to start experimenting and playing with some other paddles there. Webby, what's your go-to Volaire paddle right now?
My go-to was the Mach 1 Forza, but right now I am absolutely loving the Mach 2 Forza, and I've got some really good videos coming up with me using that. I've been using that in the Detroit Pickleball League. I've been using that. I did a very, very tough 4.0 mixed doubles tournament last weekend, and that video will be coming out soon in the next week or two, and you'll have to stay tuned to see how I did. But yeah, I am loving the Mach 2 Forza. It's the wide body. It's shorter, but wider, and it's really, really good for my style.
It's kind of funny how you're long and skinny, and I like to play with the long and skinny one. I'm shorter and wider, and you like to play with the shorter and wider one. I don't know. There's something to say there.
That's why we jive so well. That's why Eddie and Webby are such a good team.
That's right, man. We have a lot of great content that's going to continue to come out. We're going to be trying to do a lot more of these dinking arounds on a very regular basis. Please tune into that. We also, as I said many times, we've re-released some of our old content on the Eddie and Webby podcast. We're calling it Just the Pickle. We've had some great episodes so far. We're going to continue to be able to bring that to you guys. And anything else going on in your world, Webby, that you want to talk about?
Oh, man, there's a lot going on, but I think we're going to save it for the next episode because I feel like we could just do a whole episode just on all the fun pickleball things that are going on in my life right now. But stay tuned. It's going to be fun. It's going to be good.
That's right. Congrats again to our buddy Matthew Pace. I'm glad it went to you, man. I've always enjoyed hanging out with you when we've worked at Boxcar together. So congratulations on your new Volaire paddle. Make sure you reach out to us. And on that note, I'm Eddie.
And until next time, this is Webby, not Eddie, signing off.
See ya.